seems to be gone very quickly. It was a bit of an awkward kickoff, but there you see just a great aerial right off the side. And Xavier, they're doing what they do best already, and that is taking leads early on. I think one of the interesting things will be to see is, we don't know if Siena has any new players, but we know that University of Colorado in our first matchup, they had a bit of a changed lineup. They still walked away with the W, so maybe some new faces will come out here today that will give Siena that kick they need. And they are turning the ball over to the other side of the field.
Yeah, they're able to get something going as Xavier almost capitulated on that first shot, the long ball down, but right now it seems like Xavier is building pressure of their own. That's another one off the bar. Both teams getting one. A little bit of ping pong will just go into the corner. So far, Xavier feeling very comfortable in the offensive third as they're just going to walk through another one. Broseph on the second.
Yeah, Broseph just had great control of how fast they were going. A little tap, a little love nudge right there. That's all you need. We saw in the previous series a lot of shots that went kind of the side were going too fast, but there you see what makes up a great player from a good player in Rocket League. Control and dribbling of the ball when you have possession. And now Xavier, they are going to take a 2-0 lead.
And they're getting a decent amount of challenges. We almost saw a third going over the top, but so far it seems like that Siena is surviving, although by the skin of their teeth. Another one just going a little bit wide. Onion trying to add another one. That's the back post. It gets saved by X. And Enos is going to clear that all the way across, but at the end of the day, Xavier feeling very comfortable just zigging and zagging right when they need to, being able to get across this offensive third. But Siena will finally get one out, if only met by Broseph.
And one thing that's really great from Xavier, or maybe not great, but one thing that's impressive is that a lot of these plays they made so far, the 2 goals, have almost been completely individual. They haven't really had any like insane crosses over the top or any amazing aerials that were followed up with. They have just been like kind of I would say out racing, out playing on the individual level, so they can keep that going. I would love to see what they can do as well when they're getting those shots in as a team as opposed to just playing separately.
Certainly so, and there's actually a little bit of space to work in here as they'll try to throw one in the corner. Binos off the side, but Broseph is there before any of the third men can come up. A little bit of a flick. Valor going for the backboard, but instead it'll drop just inside the goal. Good save coming out, but pressure's not done. Broseph another lob. Valor up to meet it. No touch coming in. Onion's just going to go, and Xavier just really committing very aggressively to all the balls, but it's working out. If Siena can't clear it, there's number 3.
Yeah, so you see at the beginning, Valor misses it, but then there's going to be Onions there with a great follow-up. Valor follows through, and that's the team play I was talking about before. Been very individualistic, but there, that is the 1-2 punch, and Siena, you can't just leave someone in net. Your reaction time has to be insanely fast if you're just going to leave someone sitting there. There you saw the jump was not enough. There was not enough power behind the attempted save, and Xavier now 3-0.
And right now it's so tough for Siena to break out of their half. When they do, there's a right side corner getting a lot of love, but unfortunately it's not really resulting in much. It's just being met very quickly by the Xavier, or rather Xavier players. So I think if they're going to start to build a bit more offensive pressure, I think they definitely need to look for these passes, play a little less vertical, because I feel like a lot of these balls are kind of just getting eaten up by the defense.
Yeah, they keep trying to send it up in the air, and then you see that's like a great interception right there. They keep trying to throw it up, and the connections are just not being met, unfortunately. Unlike this one that we see Valor and Broseph. Again, 1-2 punch. Perfect connection there. And Siena, they're getting it to the other side of the field. It's not like the ball is entirely on blue side. They have got it down to the orange quite a few times, but it just seems like once they get it down, they aren't able to settle the ball. They aren't able to get that back and forth going, and then immediately it's cleared out like that.
Yeah, they actually took a little bit of a time there for X6 to be able to get that. And now into the corner, a little bit of space, but Bino's going to get beat out to it. And at this point, it really does feel like a classic Game 1 situation in Rocket League where one team just comes out a little bit faster, and it's almost like the second team is really just going to use this game for more so just acclimation to the speed rather than trying to really counter it, because right now they don't have much of an answer. They're getting some touches downfield, but it seems like everything is countered, so this is where you're going to have to start getting real creative.
Yeah, indeed. And even if they aren't able to win this one, it's always great to just at least get one goal to kind of give yourself a little momentum boost going into that second matchup. You don't want to be shut out early on. And now that goal, I was going to say it looks wide open, but that is a great save that's going to be coming out there for Siena. They're going to be able to get the clear, and now they've got a little bit of room to work with.
That's a nice passing play, and it'll get something. XCon gets him on the board with 50 seconds to go, so hope yet, but certainly a long road ahead.
It's something. It's something to start the engines, going. It's not a shutout. It's a little bit of confidence back in the tank, and if you can just keep adding this pressure, even if you don't get another one in, it's great. You don't want to do that when you're giving the ball off right at the kickoff, and it goes pretty close to your own net. Just keep trying to keep it out of your own zone, and you see Xavier, they might have given one up, but they are not relenting.
Now we're going to have to see Valor come in for again. The crossbar taking a beating, but they'll rather put that effort onto the crossbar than into their own net. So Siena breathes a sigh of relief, but this is certainly quite the display here. Valor alone this game has had 10 shots for Xavier. It's just, you can't really overstate just how much really just suffocation is being put on Siena in this game one.
I think the most amazing thing about these shots is that there's almost always a follow-up, there's always a rebound. Xavier, they're not giving up position once they go for the shots. The ball is almost always coming back to them one way or another, and that's just great follow-up. That's great instincts to make sure that you're not playing too loosey-goosey there. It looks like there was almost an own goal that Xavier were gonna give up, but a great save, and looks like Xavier are gonna be walking away with this first match of the series 5-1.
And not much more to say than that, but team just coming out a little bit faster. But that's also the beauty of Rocket League, is that game ones don't always have fantastic predictive value. I think you see sometimes teams come out very strong, and I can't count the number of series that, at least that I've casted, at least, that where a game one has gone one way and then the series has shifted down the stretch. So I'm looking forward to that. I'd be interested to see what adjustments need to be made, at least on the transition game. What are you noticing that Siena is not quite hitting the marks on?
It seems like they can just transition pretty quickly back to defense, and then it's just they can't get possession back. It's really their attack where they're struggling a bit. They can set up in the opponent's zone, but then they can't really move the ball. The one goal they got was just off a really nice fadeaway shot. They were able to get a really long clear, and then it was just a one tap. So it was a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill combined. They need to really keep control of the ball once they actually get it into the orange area. Usually they would just pass it once or twice, and then immediately it would be intercepted and go the other way. So if they can do as well on their attack as they have on their defense generally, obviously 5-1, not the scoreline you want to look at, but I thought they looked pretty all right on defense. It was just that they weren't able to get the ball out at the end.
Yeah, and at a certain point there, you can only get the ball out of your half for so long until you start realizing, how do we continuously keep it on the other half? And right now, that's really the equation that needs to be solved for Siena, because I don't think you can maintain that level of pressure, or rather on defense, and withhold anything from Xavier. So heading into game number 2, Siena refreshed and the scoreline wiped is going to have to see what they can do, but it seems like we've just unpaused game 1.
Yeah, I was going to say Siena, they can try to go for the clear, but you see there, it's intercepted. Just a great shot by Valor. I think that we saw on the shot line, that was like the most impressive thing that Xavier had from the last game. It was 18-3. 18, so that's a difference of 15 shots going the way of Xavier. So you can see like how it's not just possession, but the fact they're actually making chances with those possessions. Whereas even though there was still, I would say, like a minute and a half that was actually in the orange zone, 3 shots were made out of it. On the like positive thing, like you're shooting at like 1/3 accuracy, that's actually going in, but you look at the bigger number, overall numbers, that's still not something that's great. But now they might have a bit of leeway here.
And Broseph actually might have helped him out there, as X actually hit this one. I don't know if it was at the speed to beat the defender, but right after they touched it, I believe, Broseph gets that last touch. So
did that ball
either
up
way,
a ton.
They all count the same. So that's going to be at least a nice equalizer for Siena, but it's good to show that once they have their pressure and their chance here in game 2, they've taken it.
Yeah, definitely an assist there from Prosiv. Unlucky for Xavier. But that ball was going in so slowly. I thought it'd be easily knocked out, easily saved, but that extra speed gave it the legs it needed at the end. So now 1-1. I'm sure Xavier feeling a little bit bad about that, but they're immediately going to take that lead back. Satisfied Onion, getting a lot of satisfaction on that goal to take it once more.
Very unfortunate. Two players in the backboard. They both land on the exact same side, and then the third man 50s it right over top of both of them from the sidewall. So very unfortunate bounces. Just no one in the middle to be able to cover their options, and right back to a 1-goal game. But speed's picking up for Siena as we see another ball that's going to lob across. Valor will slap that one. Keeps it in. Nice touch to the sideline. Will just hold up the clear as Broseph tries to march down. But cleared right back with a 50. Bounce in the middle, satisfied Onion. They're going to have to deal with this one. That's not going to be a double tap. It will be a Beto shot, and it's going to go in. A rough mistake down the stretch from Xavier, and that's a gift if I've ever seen one.
Again, these shots from Siena, I mean, you just can tell even in slow-mo how slow that ball is going, but I think on the last two goals we saw two different overplays. Siena, they had two players in the same position. Neither of them were able to go for the 50-50 ball. That time, Xavier, they did not think that ball would be still staying on their side of the field. Overcommit towards the attack side, not able to get it, and now we've got a tie game again after what was a pretty big shutout for Siena, but now Xavier, it seems like every time they give one up, they immediately get one back.
Yeah, just a little bit of panic coming in from Siena. That ball bouncing a little bit slower maybe than they thought. The change-up effect making them doubt themselves as XCon was flopping around, maybe trying to jump for things they didn't realize they had more time on. And kind of in an odd way, that's also, I find, what Xavier is also suffering from. They're going to play very fast when they don't need to, and it's causing them to make certain mistakes. But at least right now, it's keeping both these teams in this game, although they're getting a helping hand from the other side.
Yeah, I think what you pointed out was perfectly correct. You see Siena, they want to slow things down, and Xavier, they want to speed things up, and they both have advantages and disadvantages, but that's a demo. I don't think we've seen a demo in a while, so Siena going to have at least a personal advantage for a little bit, but I think by the time that this ball gets back in their hands, if ever, it will be gone. So there was the opportunity for things to be level once again. We'll see what they can do now that they've gotten it back to the orange side of the field.
Unfortunately, 6 is going to get dunked. It'll go all the way across. Satisfied Onion won't be satisfied with that finish. It'll go just wide. But Broseph lobs one up. Valor's up for it to the back post, and no one can touch that one. 1-goal lead becomes 2 as Valor gets another one.
Yep, just Broseph dribbles it. Valor follows it up. And earlier on in the first game, I said I wanted to see Xavier execute more team plays, and team plays galore is what we've gotten since there. It's always that 1-2 punch. Someone lofts it up. It could be 50-50, but then someone comes speeding down the field. Great control. And again, they send themselves in a great position to score once more, and there it is.
And it's unfortunate. Nobody can get back. Satisfied Onion going for a nice air dribble, but they actually put it a little wide. But fortunately for him, Broseph is right there to clean things up, and it's just good following by Xavier. There seems to always be someone following up a lot of these shots, and it hasn't gotten him in trouble too much, especially if Siena has struggled to consistently get these clears, as it's another one that unfortunately they will be punished for. But we've just reached past halftime, so certainly a lot of time for Siena to mount some more attacks, but it's starting to look a bit scarily like game 1 here, I'm sure, on the Siena side.
Yeah, they were able to get 2, but 5 goals for Xavier. They're building up that lead. Right now, seeing that it looks like Siena have a chance to get 1 back, get a little bit closer. I think the problem is that when they're too scared to go for the 50-50s. You see a lot of time that Xavier, they just get a free challenge, and when there's time for Siena to challenge the ball themselves, they don't really go for it. So I'm not sure if that's a lack of confidence, or maybe just they want to play a bit more defensively, a bit slower. But even when they have that advantage, even when they get the demo you're seeing there, they're just letting the ball go all the way down the field.
Yeah, certainly so, and it's really only causing problems for Xavier when these long balls kind of ricochet off the back wall or off the ceiling, and it's really where I feel like Siena has to take their opportunities. But they'll try another one off the corner. That one gets cleared, but it's a sitter in the midfield, but everyone backs away from Siena. They'll temporarily tap that one, but X, at least it seems to be the fastest player continuously for Siena. They're forcing a lot of dangerous balls. It's just, the issue is that once you hit that ball, you have to rely on the follow-up, and it just seems like there sometimes just isn't the help that he's looking for.
Yeah, the follow-up has not been there, unfortunately, for Siena. Maybe they need to work a little bit more on their communication, their team play, figure out, when those setups will be executed. But a great save there. Keep things at 5-2. 30 seconds remaining. It's going to take a lot for Siena to be able to tie this one up.
Okay, Xavier's just trying to stat pad now. So much so they bump each other on the breakaway. Can Valor get back on this one? They just might, and they will. Just taking a little bit too much time as a 2-on-1. But now coming down the other, and Valor trying to get rewarded for the defensive heroics. They won't get one quite then, but then again, they don't really need one as we're ticking down to the final 10 seconds. And Xavier looking for one for the road, but don't think they're really going to get one unless that post helps them out.
They did.
And they will end at least with one more.
Right at the buzzer there. Again, great game awareness. Satisfied Onion runs all the way back to get that last shot in. Stat pads and all that's going to be Xavier going on to match point. And one thing I'm noticing a lot of how Xavier is playing once it gets set up in their opponent's zone is that they'll kind of have one person rotating around mid, but they are not playing defensive only. They will run in if there is a missed pass. They will try to go for the follow-up shots, and I think that's why we're seeing that there's always someone there to try to go back in.
Yeah, I find it's a little bit strange to see from the Siena side is that I feel like there's certain bouts where they have really good pressure and I feel like they have a chance to move up, but you mentioned there's a somewhat of a fear factor kicks in and they don't want to push up and they don't want to get capitalized on, which is a real fear. You have to understand that Xavier has been putting a lot of pressure on you. I mean, that last game, they eclipsed 10 plus shots again, albeit to a lesser degree. But I think you have to tossifize that fear for a little bit and understand that, it's cliched as it is, but sometimes the best defense is a good offense, just trying to make sure you put a little bit of pressure. And I think right now Siena is improving, but they're not improving fast enough. This is match point, as you mentioned. So they don't have that much time remaining to be able to correct some of these errors that they're making.
And what's even scarier then is you said that there were less shots for Xavier, but they were still able to get one more goal. So they're getting even more accurate with the way they're playing. And I think a big part of that is because instead of going for those individual plays where they just run it all the way down the field, one person with no help, they have gotten the team plays. Not a bit of a team play there as they run into each other on the side of Xavier, but they have been looking clean. We're seeing Siena play aggressively. You said we saw glimpses of it before. They need to keep it going. See there, they just give up the ball for a second. I think the biggest fear they have is that if they overcommit on a 50-50, then they're going to be left defenseless. But even when they have free back for defense, they're misplaying position a little bit. So might as well just go for the risk, You risk it for the biscuit. Sometimes you do get that reward.
Certainly so, and certainly worse things that you can try to commit on. But now going back the other way, Valor going to send one across, and Brosif is just not quick enough to get to that one. Followed from Satisfied Onion. No touch there, and it just Sharks circling the boat here. The Xavier, they're just whipping back and forth across the defensive backfield, and now the pressure will inevitably pay off. Satisfied Onion gets a bouncer.
It's a little victories for Siena. I think that's the longest they've gone without letting a goal be scored on them during the opening part of a match. So kudos to them almost going a minute. Just the pressure again from Xavier. Once they start, they don't stop. They don't let the ball get cleared ever. Great follow-ups on missed shots, great follow-ups on missed passes. Their communication, it looks stellar. You can just tell that they're all on the same wavelength. They're in sync, and that really shows how good they are at this game. And now they might have, I was going to say, a great save. I thought for a second it might go in from all the way across the field, but even with that shot not going in, they're keeping that ball in, and that's just going to be a slam dunk.
Yeah, and Brosif tried to get the steal, but ultimately Onion will be able to bag their second of the game, and just not quite quick enough on some of these challenges, just bouncing out and just going a little bit past the defenders. I think it'd be one thing if they were completely uncontested, but it's almost like they're just a step behind. Maybe it's just that console input lag, we'll never know. But for the most part, Siena starting to struggle again heading into this game number 3, but the chances are there. They've been able to get some pressure. It's really just about how often and really how consistently they can get some clean touches and some fast challenges. Because I find that they have moments where it's very clean and then moments where it's just not quite enough.
They don't chase balls once they get them in. Once they see that someone on the side of Xavier has it, they just kind of let it go. They regroup, but I think that's a bit of a misplay. You got to go for some of those challenges. It might not work out, but as long as you're not committing 3 players to that ball at once, you'll still have to go back on the defense. And we've already said the rotations on defense have been pretty good. So if they play a little bit less fearful of, the possibilities, if they go a little bit more aggro with some of those challenges, they go in for the balls once they're on the other side of the field, they might give themselves a better shot. And it's only 2-0 right now, so there's still plenty of time to get back to this. This is the lowest scoring game we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of a fan of what I've been seeing right there is Xavier getting a little cocky in the midfield as they kind of set up and standing still, just waiting to bump aerial, and then a player from Siena just came through and bumped him. And now with an open net, what can they do with it? It's just a little over, but heck of an effort coming in from X6. And now on the far side, they're going to come back and be able to stop the attack. So almost good transitions here, but the shots, again, just not quite on target, but good effort here as we're approaching the 2-minute warning.
And we saw in real time what I was just talking about. Once the ball was given up, it seems like it was back in Xavier's position. They just back up, and because of that, Xavier are able to just run it down. Great pass. The follow-up is there. And look at that. Actually, it isn't even touched. I think that goes in just straight from the shot from Satisfied Onion all the way down the field. So there's Xavier that is trying to block off any sort of shot block. It's a great job there.
Now long ball down. Valor's going to touch it across their goal. A little bit dangerous, but they will get away with it. Brosif will send it down into the corner. Also, I think might have yoinked that boost. 2 players up from Xavier. Definitely getting aggressive there. But the ball will be recovered by Brosif on the recovery back. Just fantastic up and down rotation. And it's paying dividends with another one is, unfortunately, I just can't touch it.
Satisfied Onion has done this time and time again. They rotate all the way from mid, even their own defensive part of the field. They get a speed boost. They run right in. The ball is perfectly placed in their pathway. And there's another goal going to be going to Satisfied Onion. So Siena, their defense looked better than it had previously been in the series, but now you see they're starting to crack under the pressure. Of only a minute 30, it's looking like Xavier are going to be taking this series 3-0.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm never a fan of spelling doom and gloom like that in a series, but at the end of the day, this has been a very interesting series with at times some moments where I could see Siena getting some goals in, but it really comes from stuff like this where one player just takes matters in their hands as X6 will at least get one on the board.
Yeah, and they've never been shut out. That is the best thing you can say is that they have been scoring no matter what. They haven't exactly been the closest of score lines, but I think they got 1 in the first matchup, 2 in the second one, and now at least 1 here in the first. So that's 4 goals through 3 matches, and that's pretty good. It gives you momentum going into the rest of the season. It gives you confidence against Xavier that maybe you can do more. I just think that, like you said, it's really one player running the ball down, getting a great opportunity where Xavier is overcommitting. They are jumping too far forward, and then there's just too big of an opening for Siena to miss. This might be another one of them right here if they can find a few more passes back and forth. But there you go. See, they're already rotating all the way out, and I would have loved to see them be a bit more aggressive, or maybe you send 1 or 2 people back a little bit more towards mid, but you're not backing all the way out. You're not going back all the way towards your net when there's still plenty of time to contest.
Yeah, and I think at this point, it's what do you have to lose? You got to get goals. You got to get
nothing to lose.
So you definitely got to throw a body forward, and right now we're seeing Siena attempt to do that as another long ball will go, but just cut out by Brosif, and X6 will salvage that one. But 10 seconds remaining. The effort was there, but just not quite enough to topple Xavier, and they will indeed be taking this one in a pretty clean sweep.
Clean sweep. That is them going to be going on top of the Big East, and we'll just see if this ball is played out if they can try to get one more. I don't think it's going to be in their favor. This actually might be one going the way of Siena. I'm sure they'd love to get 1 goal before the buzzer is sounded off, but no, it's not going to... It's still going. I don't know. It's possible. I'm just going to finish up my thought. This is great for Xavier because now puts them into a position that there's 1 less team that they have to compete with at the tippy top, in the fact that they're able to get the sweep. That's +3 matches in their favor, and that match differential can really add up over time.
Yeah, and it's a tough one, sure, for Siena to swallow, but yeah, I think you do have to look to the silver linings. The fact that you were able to get some decent shots off the fact that you were able to never be shut out. You actually were able to score. So tough result for them, but I think ultimately they will be able to kind of come through and be able to get at least something out of this. But good result by Xavier, and I'm sure they can be very happy with that. Some mistakes down the stretch, but overall, you get pressure and you score those goals. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was interesting. They let up 2 goals in the second game that they probably shouldn't have, but they were able to answer back with their best, goal to shot radius, where they were, converting more shots than goals than they had in either matchup. This last one, I think they had their least amount of shots on goal. I think it was about 12 or 11, but still pretty dominant, still always above 10, and you can see why they're at the top of the the leaderboards, why they are at the top of the standings, why they are putting a lot of numbers on the scoreboard. It was a great effort. I think there are still some things they could, work out. Maybe won't be as easy against some other teams that are, up there as they are later on. We'll see what happens with that. We're going to be taking a very short break. We're actually going to be talking to one player from Xavier, pick their brain a little bit. So don't be going anywhere. We'll be back with an interview in just a moment.
And welcome back, everybody. So we are sitting down for a brief little chit chat with one of the Xavier players, Satisfied Onion, also known as Connor. How you doing, Connor? And good job today with your clean little sweep there.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a good start to this split.
How
Absolutely.
does and with games like that, like it's a good thing to start it off, but like how does a game like this change down the stretch? I'm always curious about how comms evolve on games where you feel like you're getting a lot of pressure, and do you really focus on just keeping your pedal like foot down, like pedal to the metal, or do you start trying to get like creative with things, like let's work on passing more, or is it just kind of like you're just bloodthirsty and you're going for it?
Yeah, so Siena is a team we haven't played before, and I haven't seen them on stream, so I wasn't familiar with kind of what we were going into this series. But we kind of kept a playful tone. We didn't, you know, you're just trying to have a good time, stay focused, and definitely be ready for next week.
Yeah, you guys, you're moving on to 8-1, only have had 1 loss on the season. One of the top teams now with UTA defeating Seton Hall earlier on. One of those teams fell. Seton Hall now at 7-2. So there's only 3 teams right now at 8-1. You're now on top of the Big East because of that. So are you looking at any of these other top teams as a threat, or do you think when the time comes you're going to be able to beat them?
Yeah, so I think we have both UTA and Seton Hall again later this season, so that we're definitely looking forward to those games. I think out of us three, the ones that come out on top will probably take the league. So we're really looking forward to those games.
Very
And
cool.
how do you, going into those games when you have a game where it's coming up, how do you guys approach the preparation for that? Do you try to scrim teams that are at them, do you ask that team for a scrim? I know that's sometimes a taboo and competitive to scrim the team that you're eventually playing, but how do you prep for a team that you know is going to be like a handful, like top of the table type squad?
Yeah, I think we definitely go into each series with the same mindset, so it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're just gonna focus on, you know, just take care of what we can take care of, control what we control, our attitude and effort. So, um, we've played Seton Hall in the past, and historically, they've typically had us. But I think this is probably the best season we'll have. If that hasn't shown already, we're doing pretty well this season, so we're definitely hungry for a revenge match.
All right. Well, I'm all out of questions, and I know we got a game upcoming pretty soon. So, Danger Talk, we got anything else for him?
I think we're good. Very good job for you guys. It's a pleasure to cast.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we will be coming back after another short break. We've got Hofstra University versus Manhattan College on the other side. So we'll see you for that in just a few minutes.